Professional setup, by the way, My bad, my bad.
Elite tournament
When you're,
organizers.
when you're as famous as Icado, you can do whatever the hell you want.
How's that how that works? I don't think I'm
Yeah,
that famous yet,
I don't know.
So this opener from Finny looks really, really good, actually.
Yeah, the Sivir Auction mirror, it looks like is what we got here. Um, which a lot of times can be sort of swung early game. If you're able to pick up like a Fleet Feather Tracker plus a Bright Steel, um, stuff like that to be able to just trade in value just a little bit can be incredibly valuable. But Black Boss, I'm hearing some typing. Sorry, I don't know who
Sorry,
that's. Oh, you're
that's
fine.
my fault.
No, you're fine. I just wasn't sure if I needed to change something. But the Black Boss doesn't have a good hand here. This is a very bad hand. There's no Akshan, there's no one drops. Your only thing that's playable before turn 4 is a Naked Brightsteel, and you don't want to be playing a Naked Brightsteel. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
this is really,
I don't think we're
really
happy
awkward
about this.
hand.
Yeah. We'd probably just have to play out a Brightsteel right here to just not fall behind on board. We have the
Yeah,
Sivir. We can develop Sivir and have Cataclysm backup, but it's just it's a rough opening here from the Black Boss. It's very much an uphill battle, especially considering in these Sivir Akshan decks, getting down the Palace and starting to take it down is so important. This is how you continue to draw and just have the steam to end the game. So, Finny able to, not get Akshan down, but getting down the Vagabond as well as a couple extra Vagabonds to take it down more quickly is going to be invaluable here.
so he goes for just the attack on Sivir, and then, yeah, pass from
Oh,
both players. And, I mean, Black Boss finds the Merciless, which is pretty good in the Sivir mirror.
Yeah, Merciless is going to let him take out the opponent's Sivir with using his own. I imagine we'll see a Radiant Guardian developed here, though.
yeah,
And
Radiant
then,
Guardian is so good, especially in these types of matchups where this early damage should have really hurt the Black Boss, but if he's able to just stick the Radiant, yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, and the tough on the Radiant Guardian also allows it to safely block Sivir if there are no combat tricks or buffs on the side of Finny.
And in a lot of these Demacia mirrors, having to be the first person to commit a combat trick or commit a spell puts you in such a bad position. So having something like this that you can just put in front of Sivir and say, okay, Finny, you have to commit your spell first, oftentimes decides who actually ends up coming out on top in these fights. Looks like the Black Boss is considering here. Has that Cataclysm, with the Akshan coming down, is perhaps deciding if he wants to throw his Sivir into it. Pick it up before it levels, because once he levels and gets that Horde coming down, it's very difficult for the Black Boss not to just get super outvalued.
the Horde is just a lot more powerful than the Palace. And Black Boss not having either on the board counting down right now does put him a little bit behind, if I had, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Don't play. Yeah. So there's the Akshan level up, exactly like we wanted to potentially avoid. This
Yeah,
is going to let Vinny predict or maybe buff his board. I would imagine he's going to predict here, though.
probably. Predicting is usually pretty valuable. It's usually the way to go, unless you're looking for a kill. But the Black Boss swinging into Finny, a really important thing that we had highlighted in the deck list is the Riposte versus the Prismatic Barrier. These barriers are incredibly important in the mirrors. If you're able to have it, you just can blow out an attack like this. So, the Black Boss kind of fearless here. He does have the triple Sivir hand, right? So, he's willing to give up his Sivir, but these types of attacks are just really scary because barrier just makes Sivir's life so hard.
We do see the predict come down here. I think you're kind of looking for maybe a rally at this point. Preservarium's actually pretty good too, I think, as
Yeah,
well.
I'm not sure if you have a better opportunity to play down the Preservarium. Instead, decides that he's just going to pick up the second Merciless Hunter, let him choose his blockers for his attack.
And we have enough mana to play out this second Merciless Hunter plus Sivir next turn. and still hold up sharp sight. And that might be the direction we go with. Ooh, the,
Cataclysm here.
and the Cataclysm's pretty rough here for Finny, losing both of his champions in the same turn without being able to get anything in response. It's not ideal. Now, to be fair, he still has the Horde. He's still kind of in a commanding position here, but, it's not exactly where you want to be if you are Finny. And I like the Sivir first, because Sivir first sort of brings out the Bright Steel here, right? Which
Uh,
means then you can play out second Merciless onto the Radiant and potentially just sort of win that fight.
Yeah, you could even go if you're. He has enough mana for the sharp sight as well if there is a combat trick on the Radiant.
Ooh.
But he could also do the Waking Sands, so that way, Finny doesn't have to expend his own combat trick in response to BlackBoss's combat trick.
To be fair, though, this does mean that we've tapped down. We have tapped below being able to use our sharp sight, which is always a little bit scary in Demacia mirrors. This does mean that this Radiant Guardian can survive with just a Shape Stone. I
Yeah, and
imagine we'll see that
I
combine.
fully expect to see it here
Yeah.
because what else are you really doing this turn? A concerted isn't going to do much either.
I think the big thing is this is flipping Sivir, right? So keeping your Radiant alive here means that her health will no longer matter on attack token because she gets the quick attack from Sivir. And I kind of preferred the line where we keep up sharp sight to make sure that this Radiant Guardian dies. It's a little bit scary because you are putting your Sivir in harm's way, but it's just so difficult now because even though you're the one with the Horde, Black Boss has board control, has the flip Sivir first, and gets the first attack token with it, so is going to be able to get a lot of value trades.
Yeah, and it's also a bit scary though. If you were keeping track of the hand, you know those first two cards have been sitting there for a while, so you know they are either something super high cost
Oh,
like extra Sivers, or it's more tricks since you didn't have any other units.
and he actually got rid of a blocker there.
he high rolled like
Yeah,
crazy
he
with
hit the
that one.
spell shield, he got the blocker.
Literally
That's
everything he could have asked for.
yeah, and he top decks the rally. The
Yeah,
Black Boss is just a gamer.
What a fucking yeah! It turns out you don't need Akshan, you don't need the palace to actually tick down. It's just a lot better to high roll.
yeah, you just need Siver
Yep.
times two, times three,
Oh, we have to double commit the sharp sight first. Oh no!
and he has enough mana for concerted and the rally.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Not like this.
Wow, in the Black Boss, these mirrors are so often decided by things like finding the Akshan, finding the Horde, but Finny found them and just lost on board control. This Radiant Guardian was so good at stabilizing and holding down the board here.
Yeah,
Tough.
so Black Finny actually lives by two, right? But
He's technically
is
alive.
it really
Yeah.
So, like,
You
maybe there's a line.
scooped, got his mental together, and is coming back into this next game prepared.
Yeah, and Sivir Akshan versus Plunder is a matchup we've seen quite a bit before. This was very popular a couple seasons ago, both of these decks. So, definitely a matchup we've seen a lot before, but kind of contentious in terms of who's actually favored. Plunder was
Yeah.
sort of one that came up as a counter to Sivir Akshan, on ladder at least, but a lot of players, at least at that time, decided, well, Sivir Akshan still kind of beats it. Couple nerfs later, and it's still kind of hard to say who's supposed to be favored here.
It certainly is. As you said, the Plunder kind of re-emerged in the metagame as an answer to Sivir Ionia at the time initially, and then Sivir Akshan afterwards.
Yeah, that sparring student
That's a high roll.
getting really
Yeah,
buff with this double Mirai.
that's sparring student and the challenger Poro.
Yeah, it's
Black Boss is really out here just playing a different game.
it's kind of weird. We're down to 13 health. Why why did our opponent deal 7 damage on one attack? That's kind of
Yeah,
weird.
So I think you just do you parlay face here and then go for the merchant?
Oh.
sure.
I don't know. The lines with Plunder can be kind of unintuitive sometimes. I have trouble with them. I didn't play enough of
Yeah.
Plunder when it was like really popular, so now I have to like try and figure them out myself, but I like it. You know, you activate the Plunder, you get
Hmm.
down the nab. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it allows you to get down the merchant who also has 2 health for you to hit with the croaker as well.
Yeah, it's going to let you cycle through your deck and actually find some things to do with your mana on the following turn. Because right now you don't have a whole lot.
Oh, one nice thing about the black market merchant, by the way, is it buffs up the sparring student, so you can use that. It's temporary 1 extra HP as your draw from
Yeah.
Croaker. Oh,
Oh,
or
and he goes
not.
for banking the mana. Okay.
That's oh,
And
F
finds to
tier.
steal the rush.
Oh, to be fair though, Finny has double rally. This is the type of hand that can beat Plunder and make sure that you don't go to turn 9, right? If he's able to flip this Sivir, find an Absolver, he could be killing Black Boss, you know, in a couple of turns. Oh, he has an Absolver
Absolutely.
already.
Hmm.
He's chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd still
And
take a
Finney's,
lot
even
of
the
damage here,
concerted.
but go ahead.
Finney's looking pretty set up. Black Boss not attacking on evens isn't going to be able to use the Sejuani to remove the Sivir. So,
But he will be able to use it to freeze it and
yeah,
possibly stop that whole rally absolver kind of turn.
yes, that is true.
So Black Boss is probably just debating on what to bright steel and swing with, because he should be swinging with something, I think. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we want to force out some trades here if possible, just because you want Sivir to have to trade down her board on the defensive token. If she's doing
Yeah.
that, then she's not taking advantage of the quick attack that she otherwise would have. And the Sivir Auction deck really wants to maintain a board. So once you have flipped Sivir, you're able to just force blocks across.
Yeah, and by doing it this way, if Sivir isn't gonna trade into it, at least one attack is gonna hit the Nexus and get another trigger towards Sejuani's level up or Gangplank.
And a gift for a Nectin Black Market Merchant is chosen as the sacrifice. It'll be interesting to see if Black Boss decides to play down the Sejuani to deny the attack, but instead looking for the nab instead.
Yeah, he wants to make use of that discount while he can. And Sivir does just trade in for free to the Black Market Merchant. And we see a Palace on the other side.
You'll love to see it. What's our champions are at 3 out of 5. So, ooh,
Oh, going for the rally here.
so just kind of a tempo rally, trying to apply a little bit of pressure here. I would have preferred putting this on Sivir, just because Sivir's gonna flip and give it to the 4-2 anyway. But this is fine.
So I think Black Boss is debating on Warning plus Harpoon here.
If we do that, we're harpooning the 4-2.
Yes. So it would only be Sivir swinging in.
Hmm.
The thing about that is I think it also denies that the Palace trigger from the Aegis.
Yeah, I think you're right, Shawdogs. And that could actually end up being relatively important.
It feels like Black Boss is still in a pretty good position though, just because the Sejuani coming down kind of makes the concerted strike in hand not all that valuable for Finny. At least next turn, he's kind of, potentially just losing his Sivir. He might have to use the rally just to keep her alive.
Yeah, and thinking about it now, if he did go for the Warning Shot and Harpoon, because I think he's gonna Warning Shot this turn anyways to trigger the Sedge
Sedge,
one
yeah.
more, because she's at 3 out of 5. And I don't know. This is I just find it interesting he didn't go for it, because Sedge is at 3 out of 5. If he Warning Shots here before, the next turn he'll be able to have Crack Shot and Sejuani Overwhelm to freeze the board.
I wonder if there's something we're missing.
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. But
I imagine here we will just see the crack shot Corsair come down as a lead. Let Finny take the action, see what he does. In response, we'll end up dropping the Sedge onto the Sivir. Then we may see a rally come down, as I believe Shodox said.
Yeah, it's so hard to say because if you're expending your rally right here just to keep Sivir alive, that doesn't feel that great. Because that's kind of one of the ways that you're trying to end the game. Unfortunately, Sivir also very necessary to ending the game. I'd like to see a predict here first, just to see what we end up drawing. You know, if we hit another Sivir, we can give the Sivir up. If we don't, then it might be worth keeping it. Ooh, but wow,
Yeah. So
this is
okay.
so
So here is
scary.
also, yeah, this is interesting. So do you go for the chance on Make It Rain, or do you guarantee the kill with the Warning Shot Harpoon?
You have a 75% chance, but loses to any buff, right? So I think you just
Yeah.
fire a harpoon off. You just kill the 4-2. You save it here, and now you have the you have priority here after this, right? So you can just attack
Yeah,
Sivir.
you do.
There's not an option to try and save her, try and find a bright steel. There's nothing. Committing this concerted just feels a little bit preemptive from Finny.
Yeah, and we see that he's going for the play that I was saying last turn he could have made just by removing his Merciless.
Uh-huh.
But I think he wanted to hold the Warning Shot for the attack turn with Sivir.
I think
Um,
so too.
but yeah, this way also does get out that concerted, so it worked out a lot better.
Yeah, no, I think that the Black Boss is in a really strong position here, and there isn't really an option here from Finny. Nothing to do in response to this. Your guy is dying. Um, I wonder what we were saving this predict for. Like, are we
Yeah,
not going to predict? Are we trying to play out the 5-2 this turn? I can't figure it out.
yeah, firing off that concerted strike before predicting was a little hasty.
Yeah.
I don't think you can argue otherwise for that. Combat trick, you might have been able to predict into a combat trick. You might have been able to predict into all sorts of different stuff that would help you out in this situation.
Well, now we're going for the predict. See what we end up picking up. Auction's good for value. Damn, if we had that bright steel, that would have been kind of nice. Um,
Would have been.
Bruiser also gives us value, but are we winning if we don't find Sivir? I guess is the question.
No.
I don't think so.
It's just such a rough position here. Oh, the Radiant.
Reading a bit too late, and a second Sejuani drawn, so
Oh
he's
no.
free to trade this one if he'd like.
Yeah.
But I think more realistically, you just end up buffing it with the Fury of the North.
Yeah, I think that
I wonder if you even just take this 5.
you put Sejuani in front of it and make him commit a spell. And if he commits a spell, then you can Fury of the North and just blow him out. Like the only thing that punishes you is riposte, right? I don't know.
Is Finny
That's
the one
not even a
running?
punish.
Is Finny
Yeah.
the one running the prismatic? Oh no, he's not. Okay.
No,
It's the Black
Finny's
Box.
on riposte. Yeah.
Oh, and we're pre-committing it, so I mean, Absolver does mean that we can trade this down, but our guy's still dying. This is still very bad for us. You know, we're getting the lucky find in hand, but nothing to cast it on. And with open lethal, you know,
I think Finny's hit the mat,
Yeah,
seen the stars, and
there it is. And even if this lethal somehow does not go through, the
there's the
field
field
rush.
rush.
yeah.
And wow,